Hey everybody, welcome to what are we doing? We're doing Talk Story Unscripted, and this is as unscripted as it gets. I'm Peter David, and up here next to me is
Doug Kane.
Or I call him Cohen because that's how it's spelled.
You're in trouble.
And then below us, or at least on my screen below us, we've got Dr. G, or Mike Gonzales, or for some of us who are really close to him, Gigantor.
All right.
Hey, welcome back, Mike. Thanks for sticking around and doing another episode with us. We're just loving this. You know, this is like film school. You're don't expect any money from me because I don't have any. But hey, this is really fun, and we were talking about inspiration. I think that's kind of where we left off. We talked about connecting with character from movies. Oh, speaking about characters, hi Anaya.
Hi.
And how does this, we're talking about connecting with characters and the story and the biblical themes. I have a question for you. Would that work in any kind of genre of film?
Yes. And I'll give you an example. Is three of my favorite animated films are Wall-E. Has very little dialogue, but lots and lots of heart. Up.
Yeah.
Oh, which she likes Up.
Oh my goodness, Up brings a tear to my eye because I relate to a particular scene in that film. And
the old guy, Mike, is that what you relate to?
Yeah, that's right. And Iron Giant.
Oh, great movie, yeah.
Great movie.
And there's a scene in Iron Giant, for example, everybody says, oh, let's go watch an animated film or cartoon or whatever. And you watch a film like this, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of the film, you get this profound question where the giant is lying down and he's asking a question about, do I have a soul? And where do I go when I die?
Wow.
And those are profound questions. And I think animated films, documentaries, all have an opportunity to have deep impact into our lives in profound ways that we didn't expect or we're not expecting.
Yeah.
What about a comedy?
Oh yeah, comedies are they're fun, obviously, but they also have a message. And not all comedies have the same impact at the end, but we all relate. I think good comedies also have the down moments of life.
Yeah.
And we start to understand the struggle of a character. One of my you just brought another film to mind, which I thought is very powerful in a personal, deep, dynamic way, is The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Because here it's based on a true story of a guy who got his son that was left with him, and he's homeless. And all of a sudden, talk about hope, like we talked about yesterday. What kind of hope? How is he going to dig out of this mess? And it almost seems impossible. But that also gives hope to me that hey, if there can be a solution, and sometimes we want the magic pill. We want the solution to happen right at the moment.
Right.
And God doesn't work that way. And also, we also learn that there's a, when in the Wizard of Oz, when the great and mighty Oz is revealed hiding behind a curtain, that's not how God works either.
Yeah.
So we learn from films that are fantasy stories, even that we can find ourselves and humanity and God in the compassion in those strange places.
I love that we're talking about, first of all, yesterday we talked about finding godly themes in any movie. And I love that we're talking a little bit about kids movies, because I've been really impressed with a recent one that came out, which was Frozen 2. I really felt like it really tackled some serious life issues about loss, dealing with loss and loss of a loved one. I mean, it was some serious, heavy, and they did a great, graceful job of talking about it. And I just think it's really, I think thinking back at some of the older cartoons like Bambi, that was another one that talked about loss, and I think that's really valuable for kids, and I love what you said, Mike, about how media is the new influencer. It's the new, the books were influencing people hundreds of years ago and before then, and on, and now media is this influencer. And I think
literacy, yeah.
And I think about my daughter, reciting the lines from Finding Nemo: "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming," and from Frozen 2, which is when things don't make sense, you do the next right thing. And I'm just like, these are great, amazing themes for kids to grab hold of.
Yeah. And something else that I tell my students in directing is it's not only what you put up on the screen, but it's also how you work behind the scenes in terms of your character. And, so many people still love working with Steven Spielberg, for example, because he treats people with respect.
Yeah.
And he's always very thankful. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate this. And people just say, like, when's Steven going to do another picture,
Wow.
And he likes to use the same group of people. Most directors have their team that they work with. But I think a director has a huge responsibility in terms of their character behind the scenes and how they treat people. That they are good collaborators, that they are willing to listen to a cinematographer who might look at things a little bit different and say, oh, what if we move the camera over here and do a shot this way? Instead of saying, don't you ever tell me, some of our harsh directors are in Hollywood. And you bring something, if you're going to tell a story, you might as well, I like what one director said, okay, I'm going to show up on the set, and he gets everybody together and he says, okay, for the next 8 weeks, we're going to have a party.
Oh, wow.
And we're just going to have fun, and it's going to be hard work, but I want everybody to, let's all work toward the same goal of delivering a great product.
Wow.
And that makes a big difference, I think. They're not taskmasters like Pete. When Pete shoots his films, oh gosh, 16-hour days, I don't know.
Yeah.
He hurt me.
I'm painful, man. Hey, but I'm glad you brought up my 16-hour days. Yeah, no. Seriously though, what's funny, Doug, you mentioned that it's actually Doug quoted you, Mike, about filmmaking being the literature of our day. It used to be books, and now it's film. And what's interesting, it's happening even as we speak. Just released this week, maybe, or it was during this whole quarantine issue, is a new well, it's through an app, but it's actually basically like a new movie studio, and it's called Quibi. Quibi. Have you heard about that, Mike? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, so that's Jeffrey Katzenberg's new company.
Yes.
And
who's Jeffrey Katzenberg, Mike?
So he was the founder of DreamWorks Animation.
What?
And he was partners with DreamWorks SKG. So
Spielberg, Katzenberg, Geffen.
Yeah. So,
Whoa.
yeah, so, and he was the former head of animation at Disney.
Wow.
And so he's got his, I think he's got his finger on the pulse in terms of what is important right now, and what is important for young people is.
Yeah.
So they're gonna look at their phones for content, and this is all short form content because attention spans are becoming
Shrinking.
less and less. Yeah, they're shrinking.
Sorry, did you say something? I didn't hear that last. Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Quibi stands for quick bites.
Mm.
So, and it's media. It's something that people can consume, and it's short. It's kind of like, Mike, back in the day, that was the thing that drove me into film, was the idea of being able to do a story in a 3-minute music video. And that's what got me going. I'm just thinking about that now. It's like, man, that's what I really loved when I first got into filmmaking. And here it is happening in our lifetime now. People are, the big boys, the big media guys, the guys with all the bucks, they're doing that. They're realizing this is what our society will feed on, will like, which is kind of sad, right? When you think about it. It's like everything is being quicker and faster and shorter, and it's little bites. I mean, Instagram 1-minute videos. I mean, when I'm doing a corporate job and someone says, "Hey, we need to make that video 1 minute," are you kidding me? 1 minute? How am I going to do that? And that's what we're getting all the time. Forget about the half an hour. Go 15 minutes. Forget about 15 minutes. Next thing you know, hey, do a video in 1 second. I mean, that's how I feel like it's where it's going. It's crazy. And all the, technology-wise too, this is really interesting to me. Sorry, I'm going on a rant, but we in the professional world, we're building cameras. Well, it used to be 1080p, 1080 pixels. Then it went to 4K. Wow, huge, 4 times the amount. And then it went to 6K, and now it's gone to 8K. And we've got TVs like that. But the funny thing is most of it's being shown on this.
Yes.
So we do all that, and then it's all back down to, this is where your audience is, by the way. So just make it for that. Isn't that interesting, Mike?
That's right. And our students are struggling because the certain ends of technology haven't caught up yet. Like they say, "Oh, I'm going to shoot an 8K camera," and then they're trying to figure out, they have to downsize it to edit it. And then there's no theaters that are going to show your little short 8K film right now. So it's a crazy time we're living in.
I have a question. There's stories in the Bible for me that not everybody knows about, that I find to be so rich in content and so full of amazing themes. A lot of stories in like the book of First Kings, about some of the prophets that nobody really knows about, or about the ones that some might know about, like Elijah, Elisha. Anyway, I see a few Christian films or programs come out that really hit it on the nose as far as telling some of these Bible stories, like The Chosen. Are you familiar with The Chosen, Mike?
Yeah.
I love The Chosen. I think they do a great job. I like how they get in depth with the character. But I'm really curious, and I'm curious about your opinion on this, as to why more people haven't taken, because we're trying to make up all these new kind of stories, right? To bigger pows and bigger wows. And then there's stories in the Bible that are rich in that most people don't even know about. Why do you think that nobody has taken those stories and ran with them?
Well, I don't really have an answer to that, but I will tell you that even in the most ludicrous telling of a Bible story, like Noah, where you have the rock monsters and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, like, where in the heck did that come from?
Painful.
Yeah, but you can find redemption or a message that speaks to deep inside, even through some films like that. You got to dig for it, and you got to start. You have to also realize that you're hoping that your audience isn't really going to buy into that premise, but will be moved by again, I'll use the term the meta story, the big story, of God wanting to save humankind, and
Right.
finding a way of telling that story. So at the end, you wind up saying like, "Wow, man!" And I think we're going through that right now. So many people. I mean, everything is going to change for us after this. And one of the things that I think is going to be powerful is the way we tell stories. Because there will be some COVID-19 stories that'll come out of this that'll really tear your heart apart. And right now you see people that are being drawn on their knees. I mean, you see, before you'd see people saying, "Oh, that's not cool that cops get together in a circle and pray." And right now you see cops getting together in a circle and praying, and medical personnel praying before they do their shifts and things like that. And that's being not jumped on by mainstream society because people are scared.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow.
I think, like you said, story's still going to be story, but the story will definitely be different. I mean, these are one of those defining moments in world history, really. We've never seen anything like this before, and it's crazy. And whatever your thoughts are, whether you think this is the end, this is the last days, or don't worry about it in a week's time, or by the time we hit May, everything will be back to normal. Whatever a person's thought is, I'm sorry, it has changed things. It is going to be a different world, like you say, Mike. And really, for storytellers, this is another opportunity for us to be able to tell stories about this time, about what people are feeling. As a matter of fact, Mike, I just wanted to ask, and this has to be a final question for us because we're running out of time. But what do you suggest for those of us who are creatives and we're stuck in our homes, in our secret lairs, or basically my bedroom? What can we do? I mean, what is this what opportunity lies ahead for the creative right now?
So right now, what we need, definitely, we need more storytellers, and this is a good time for people to start writing and creating stories and digging deep inside of themselves to be able to tell those stories. And then the internet has made the playing field a little more, level. Yes. So that before, in the old days of filmmaking, you would have to try to find an agent and write a letter and then say, can we have would you be willing to look at my film? Or agents would go out to film festivals. And nowadays they have agents that all they do is they get paid to look at content on the internet and find great storytellers. Zach King was one of my film students at Biola, and he's one of these funny guys that does things. And somebody at an agency said, "Hey, you should look at this guy's funny videos." And all of a sudden, they call him in on a meeting, and he winds up with big accounts, doing corporate videos for like Turkish Airlines and Kellogg's and all kinds of stuff, because he's a great storyteller, and his side of it is humor. And he's been very good about hiring former classmates as his, bringing them up with him. So he's got a staff of about 20 people, and almost half of them are former classmates working full time for him.
Wow.
So that's something else that that people can think about is, I should put my films up on Vimeo and write a letter to somebody, have people look at them and say, this is a sample of my work. Be creative. They don't have to be long films. They could be short form films, but if they're made really well, you'll get, you're going to get someplace if you have a vision. Nehemiah had a vision. He went to the king and he said, why are you so down? What's going on with you? And he said, well, I feel for, my hometown and they need protection. And he said, well, if you were to do something, what do you need? And he said, well, I need, this is the vision I have. And the king said, I'll support you. Yeah. And sometimes the motivation for people to be involved in media or in the film industry is not about financial success. Mm. It's about, oh, wow, you have a passion. I want to help you. You have a great story. I'm in alignment with where you're at and what your thinking is and how you possibly could help change the world. Mm. So I'm going to be with you in the beginning and help you through that process. And I hope that some of your viewers will take that challenge and will say, wow, God has put something in my heart. I can't shake it. I'm going to write something about it. Could be 10 pages long, could be 10 minutes long. Produce it through crowdfunding now. You don't have to, get a studio behind you. You get your friends to chip in little by little. Be very creative. I know of a guy, and I'll end with this. I know of a guy who produced a film in Ireland, and it was practically all shot in one house. And the film was so good that the Irish Film Board said, next time you're going to make a film, we're going to give you $600,000 to make your film, your next movie.
That's awesome.
So it doesn't have to be all over the place. He didn't have a lot of money. He filmed it in one place. It was a great story. He had great actors to make it believable. They treated the cast and crew with respect. And when it was finished, it, got distribution and they got promise for more funding.
Wow.
It can happen. It can happen.
Yeah. I think that's what's so great where we're at. For Mike, just so you know, at Colo TV, we have the ability to be an outlet for creatives. We're it's in its infancy. I mean, it's not even birthed yet, really, but we're starting a thing called Colo Creative Collective, where we're trying to bring creatives together for a lot of reasons. One, just simple networking, encouraging one another. Those of us who live a life of faith. Two, to collaborate. Maybe there's a story that you have and you want help and you want to put this together, but you're not a filmmaker or you're not a sound guy. Whatever you need. Maybe this network will bring people together where they can produce something because they have the same heart. And then also learning, a place where people can get educated. Which, by the way, Mike, I want to invite you personally right now for you to come to Hawaii and teach a series for the Creative Collective. Okay. That'd be awesome. We should do it. But that's what we want to do at Colo.
I can only come if I bring my tank.
Okay, hold on. I got to get my dog. Keep talking.
Well, while he's up, I just want to tell you, Mike, I really appreciate what you shared today. It's really inspiring to me as in my seat where I'm sitting. So thank you so much for what you shared today. Okay, you bet.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate the time. And good to see your face. And next time we're going to see your face in Hawaii.
All right.
And that would be so good. We would love to have you here. And and for those of you, here's the plug. For those of you who are creative, who are watching this, no matter where you are, wherever you are on this planet, please connect with us. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear what you're doing. And if there's a way that we can help, or maybe a way that you can help, let's just work together. And we're in a time, right? I keep seeing that word, unprecedented times, right? This never happened before. Well, this is a time where we, as the body of Christ, can really make a difference, can really be influential in this situation, in this time. So thanks, Mike, again for being part of the show. And thanks, Doug, for editing it. I'm leaving it to you. God bless everybody.
Okay.
God bless. See you next
Okay,
time.
thank you.